Shalom, everybody. Welcome so much to the show. Welcome to IsraDiva Talkshow, episode number 9. I'm so happy to be here with my two beautiful guests. We have Tom Ariel. Everyone clapping your hands for Tom. And we have Idalis Lanzara. Clapping your hands for Idalis. So wonderful to be here. Thank you so much. Well, today on the show, we have two very special guests. And as always, we will start with a 60-second introduction of the basics of our guests. Meaning I will give both Tom and Idalis 60 seconds to tell us just the basics about themselves, the age, where they live. And then after, we will change it up a bit by going into what I call IsraDiva timeline therapy. I don't know if you know, Tom and Idalis, about timeline therapy. Have you heard that term before?
Never.
No, so it's basically an autobiography where I'm going to ask you to, and of course, only share the details that you're comfortable with. But I'm going to ask you to go down your autobiography. Imagine that there's a timeline and that you're saying, well, let's say Tom. I'm Tom and I was born in Tel Aviv, Israel. And then run us through ages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth and so on until today. Kind of your life story. And then we will explore Idalis' life story. And again, only to the extent in which you're comfortable to do so. And then what I like to do is I like to find common denominators between the three of us. And then discuss those common denominators. So I can already tell, just by some background research that I've done about you two beautiful people, that we have a lot in common when it comes to makeup, hair, and just this idea of drag. So I am trans identifying. And I know that Tom is LGBT identifying. And so because Idalis does a lot of the hair and the makeup, and we are identifying with the drag, we can discuss the significance of that. But let us begin. So 60 seconds. Tom, we will start with you about the basics. 60 seconds to tell us about yourself. Go!
Hi, I'm Tom. I'm 23. I used to live in Tel Aviv. Now I live in Rehovot in Israel. I'm a master's student in physics at Weitzmann. I'm currently dating a very cute guy called Ariel.
Wow.
My hobbies are going to the gym, going to the beach, and doing math. So yeah.
Wow, that would be wonderful. Everyone clapping your hands for Tom Ariel. And now, Idalis, you have 60 seconds to tell us the basics about yourself. Go!
Oh, okay. I'm Idalis. I'm from Pennsylvania, from the town of Wilkes-Barre. Don't know if you ever heard of that one, but it's in northeastern Pennsylvania. Lived here my whole life, but traveled a lot. I transitioned when I was 23. I just turned 39.
Wow, you look beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, I would always go down to Philadelphia, which is about 2 hours away from me, down south. And I'm into hair, makeup, nails. So I don't have any on right now, but yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much. That's beautiful. So if we were to ask you guys about the biography, if I were to say, okay, Tom, Idalis, you now have to write an autobiography. Tell us your timeline. So, Tom, let's start with you. You were born in, and tell us, the significant things that have happened in your life. Let's get to know you.
Okay. I was born in 98 in Tel Aviv. I lived in Tel Aviv my whole life until this year.
Oh, you're a baby. 1998? That's a baby.
I don't remember much until age 6, but I went to school from grade 1 to grade 9 at the school. It translates to Nature, Society, and Environment School. It was like sort of a very cute, very nature preservation.
What is it in Hebrew so that I understand?
טבע, סביבה וחברה.
טבע, סביבה וחברה. Yes, okay. So you studied nature and society. Okay, cool, very cool.
So the school with the zoological garden and the botanical garden. A lot of the classes were oriented with stuff like that. So that's where I get a lot of my existential anxiety from, I guess.
Oh God.
Significant events. I don't think something significant happened to me until around age 11 or 12, when I started, discovering myself as being a gay guy. I came out around age 14 or 15, something like that. Wow,
that's very, very young compared to... Are you part of Generation Z considered?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so it's more. I hear that it's more common. Yeah. It's more common for Generation Z, and as the years go by, to come out as LGBTQ, identifying in younger and younger age. So for you, did you know when you were 14? When did you first know?
I think I knew on some level when I was like 6 years old already, and it never manifested into like. So the thing is, I never actually even came out. I had a boyfriend from my school, from the same school, from Teva, who we used to make out in like the hallway between classes. And
wow.
One of the teachers called my parents and told her, "Do you know your kid has a boyfriend?" They're like making out.
Oh my goodness! What, in age 12?
Not 12, around 14.
Wow, that's still quite a shock to have mom answer the phone and say, "Oh my God!" How did she take it?
She took it really well. Luckily, my parents are like very accepting. They didn't even like mention it. They didn't care. I think they always knew as well at some level.
Okay, good.
Yeah, luckily, thank God.
Thank God.
I know it could be very different for different people, and luckily I have very accepting parents, and they were completely fine with it. I didn't get in trouble for school because of it, but it was a bit shocking. So yeah, that's the most like.
Well, I can imagine. So the teacher was the catalyst. She calling your parents, but then did the other students already know? Did they found out because of it?
A lot of the other students already knew because I told them, and they also saw me with my boyfriend. I think I came out to my friends around age 12. That's when I started. I had this friend group, very alternative people, all art students, and I felt very comfortable in sharing that with them.
Good.
They were all very as well.
That is so important, to have that social support before the blow of the parents finding out. Because I can't even imagine if the social circle did not know, and then it became a big rumor. So good. It's good that you had that social support, at least with your alternative friends and By the way, Crystalline is in the house. Hi, Crystalline. Crystalline is one of my fans. Hello. Welcome to the show. Hi, Crystal. Okay, so you were then 14. Yes, they calling your mom, and she took it well. Dad took it well too.
My dad as well. Yeah. My brothers, they were all fine with it.
Good.
Never an issue. Yeah. I'm luckily I grew up in Tel Aviv, a very accepting city.
Tel Aviv, very accepting, very liberal. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah. So that was my school years. Later on, I went to high school. It wasn't really notable. I had an emo phase. I don't know if that's
emo. Yes.
Yeah. And then so high school was like not very interesting. The usual. Studied art in high school, and also physics. I was very bad at it.
Art and physics. It's like two spectrum, different sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, I'm a very, very, very polarizing person in general.
Wow, opposites.
Yeah, and so art and physics totally. It was very fun, very two different ends of the spectrum. I ended up doing my art in Israel. We do a bagrut, which is sort of your final test in whatever class you take.
Right, like the final examination, and then that determines which university you get accepted, right?
Yeah, depending on the grades.
Okay.
So my art final was very physics related. I did an exhibition that was like a fake science lab with all sorts of like messages in it.
Wow, that's gorgeous. Do you have it on the internet so you can give us like your Instagram? Okay.
I would love to find pictures of it, but I haven't been able to. Yeah.
Wow, it sounds beautiful to explore physics through the art.
Yeah, it was really cool. I was very into like transhumanism and like futurism and stuff like that. I was very into like sort of the convergence of mankind to like this like superior like half android race. I was very interested with this concept when I was in high school, and also like I was very into the idea of like solving physics and solving math, like completely. Like, okay, we have like this theory and that's it. That's all we need now. It was very like, I don't know, anyone who is a physicist would know that is like not even close to.
Idalis and Tom, have you seen Black Mirror, the show?
Oh.
No,
I haven't.
So Idalis, it's a show highly recommended. I'm pretty sure maybe Crystal has seen it in the chat. It's a show that explores topics, for example, transhumanism and androids, and the way in which science and technology advances can create a society that is not positive necessarily. So it has horror aspects to it, and it's very well made, exploring the darker sides of society in the futuristic society. So it sounds to me, Tom, like by studying both physics and art, you having a very intellectual relationship with these kinds of topics about how science can create different things in society that will advance us or maybe take us backwards?
Sure, it's something you always think about, I think. I don't know if I have such an intellectual take on it, but I think it's always something.
I heard, the human race peaked at 1999, but go ahead. Sorry, I had to say.
I think we're all going downhill from now on, probably. And yeah, I think it's always something anyone who deals with science, it's always something you think about. When I started my master's, it was this interesting thing. You had to take an ethics in science course. It was meetings, and it was all of the like ethical like dilemmas you could come across as a scientist, like stuff like, oh, if I could like develop such and such medicine, but I knew let's say a terrorist organization somewhere, I knew for sure they will use this medicine to like kill a lot of people, but this medicine actually could save a lot of people where I'm from. Should I release it, or should I like?
That is wow, that is fascinating. I can see two arguments. I can see for and against. It's very confusing.
Sure. Yeah. So it's for sure something that is very it's very funny. Like it is very present. Like I think in a lot of science, maybe not the parts I deal with. Not in biology. I'm in physics, so it's a bit more.
So now you're getting your master's in physics.
Yeah, I have hopefully a year or a year and a half left.
Congratulations, that is beautiful. And what do you want to do with a physics degree?
I'm gonna get a PhD after, probably.
You are a geek like me. Idalis, are you also a geek? Because we have 2 geeks in the house at least.
Oh.
Okay, well, Idalis, let's hear about you. We are very curious.
Let's see, where do I begin? I guess I could go back to when I was 14. I met a group of people that lived on the next street from me on web TV. That's how long ago.
I remember web TV. By the way, it's an Israeli invention, web TV, so cool.
Oh, is it right?
Yeah, very cool. Okay, web TV. Wow. Okay, so you were on there?
I was on there, and I met a couple people that happened to live on the next street from me. I I was still graduating from school, elementary school, and just chatting on there. And there was the gay chat rooms and stuff. I'd go in there. And this is before I transitioned.
So you identify when you were 14. Did you identify for sure as gay?
I was, yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
So if it came out as bi, I think everybody does. I don't know.
Yes, especially in our kind of the older generations. For me, I'm 62 and I'm also bisexual. So when I identified, it was even difficult to identify as bi. Now you say that you are in your late 30s?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
yeah,
so it was back then, it was different. It was easier to come out as bi and not as gay, right?
Correct, yeah. Yeah. That was the comfortable thing to do, I guess.
And you came out to your friends and family, or only to your friends?
Yeah, actually, I just saw my girlfriend that I was best friends with then yesterday after like many years, which is crazy. And
wow,
give me a big hug. Yeah, she was one of the first people, her and her sister, that I came out to that I was comfortable with. And, they already knew, like, they're smart girls. So
that's amazing that you're still friends. So these are good friend of yours.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All my friends, I've been friends with 20 plus years.
Incredible.
Yeah. And then anyways, web TV those days, and I look back on that now, and I met this guy named Harry. I'm not going to say his last name. But,
no problem.
Maybe, and this guy Greg, and this guy Dale, and this other guy, let's see, what's his name? I can't remember his name. Not important, but the other guy's name. Anyways, he took me out one night, and I was just trying to make friends, and I look back at this time now, and I think, did the one guy, like, was he trying to groom me? Like, I'm like, because, Harry also liked blondes, and I was blonde, but he didn't, maybe he knew I was trans. I don't know. It's weird, but we had a lot of good times. And anyways, besides the point, took me to a skate bar, which was called The Buzz in Scranton, and I started performing shows up there, and in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
In Scranton, and shows, you were doing drag shows?
Yes, drag shows, and I actually had seen my math teacher there.
Wow! Wow. Cringe.
Shoshana, how do you know that word?
How do I know that? I try to keep up with the current slang, so I know that cringe is a current word. By the way, Crystal Lynn in the chat, Crystal Lynn is saying, Mahosh, Crystal, if you can hear me, I am Mahosh. I am the same person as Mahosh. Believe it or not. IsraDiva is Mahosh. It's the same person. Mahosh is my channel on YouTube. So I just want to make sure that you know that I am here and I am reading your comment. Okay, so you were performing drag Idalis in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and you were running into the math teacher. That's unbelievable. Okay.
That's crazy. Yeah, and a lot of the girls would come to support me that were seniors in the high school. I think it was like a freshman, sophomore. And the senior girls, the cool girls,
cool.
I think actually the one girl actually got a job for like one of the major magazines. I don't know which one. But she became really like, she did very well with magazines. She got into that line, or
she was in modeling or magazine publishing.
Writing or something. Okay. Yeah, but her name was Kate Flannery.
Cool.
Like one of the cool girls. Anyways, so I thought that was cool. But anyways, performed there. They closed, and about 2006, I'd say 2005, I had a fire. my house. I got my foot burnt real bad, and
oh my goodness, like a house. That's horrible. I'm sorry to hear.
I had burns all over my face. My hairline was gone, and my eyes were burnt to my corneas.
Oh my goodness!
My whole body was. But I healed, really well. I ate watermelons every day, and they say that because I was watching Oprah, and she said, eat watermelons for your skin right before this happened. So I'm like, I'm going to eat watermelons all the time.
I'm so sorry that happened. So it was probably very, very painful to recover from.
Traumatic experience. And you know what? They said, you're going to have problems your whole life with this, but it's more of a nerve with your nerves. It's not right. It's more than just a burn. It's like it affects your whole nervous system when it happens. And I'm a burn survivor. Almost 23% of my body was burned at third degree burns, which is the most severe of the burns, was on my feet. I had to get skin grafting and stuff. But right around that time, going back to the trans thing, I was hanging out with my girlfriend, Carrie Ann, who had transitioned years prior and stuff. She was taking care of her mother, who was paralyzed, I believe. Yeah, and she opened me up to the whole world, and I actually went to, did it the right way. Went to her psychologist, she dealt with trans in general, period. And this is before the whole, before it became trendy. I hate saying that, but it's more accepted now.
Right. I think it started in the US with Caitlyn Jenner, and now it's a big thing, but this was before those days.
This is before those days, yeah. It was around 2004, 2005. I was hanging out with Carrie Ann, and she introduced me to her. She's like, "Come with me to Philadelphia." She was a professor at Temple Drexel.
Drexel.
I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was Drexel. It was in that area. She had her little office. Her name was Mary Cochran. But she married a trans man, actually, but she was a lesbian.
Oh wow!
But she was very good. She's very good, and I talked to her. Went to see her many times, and she kind of led me to the Mazzoni Center in Philadelphia. At that time, that was the original crew there at the Mazzoni Center. Now. I don't go there anymore. I go closer, to where I'm at here. I go to Easton, to St. Joe's, but they're really good there.
So just to clarify, the Mazzoni Center and Easton St. John's, what kinds of center are they? Are they LGBT centers?
Yeah, so Mazzoni Center helps, is specifically LGBT medical. It's almost like a hospital now in Philadelphia, downtown Philadelphia. They have it's huge now. And when I started going there, it was this little office above the 7-Eleven.
No way.
And it was the way they grew it's really, really incredible. I think it's on Bainbridge. I'm not really sure because I haven't been there in so long, but it was part of Jefferson Hospital, University, whatever down there. And had a really good doctor down there. And she was the best doctor. I wish I could find her again. That was then. And now I go to Easton to St. Joe's, which is just an OBGYN for pregnant women and things like that. But they're very good. They're very good.
So they deal with trans patients.
Yes. Good. And my girlfriend Tiny from Allentown, from Easton, which is about an hour south of me, she turned me on to going there, which I love her showing me that, you could go there, because where I live, they're trying to start things in that, but they're kind of clueless, if you ask me, and don't know what's going on. They want to project like they know, and they're part of it, but they have a long way to go here, and that's unfortunate. I see it happening though, and I see the ball moving, and things like that around here. But it's the hospitals around here are called Geisinger,
So where on the map, so I can imagine, where on the map in Pennsylvania are you? And just to clarify, I know, so Tom and I are from Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is very liberal, as we've established. The United States is more backwards when it comes to trans and LGBT rights, and it's only in recent years. And for you, it's considered the Midwest where you're from?
No, it's not. No, it's the East Coast.
The East Coast, but is it still more backwards than a big city like New York?
Pennsylvania is a swing state. Where I live is basically in elections here. This area is actually where Joe Biden is from. He's from Scranton.
Oh, okay, wow.
Yeah, and that's where he's from. He's from up in Scranton, and but this area is a swing state, and it goes either way here, that's why it's so. When it comes down to elections and stuff, this area is very important for the whole country. Because of that reason, because it's a swing state,
which means between Democrats and Republicans, it switches. Okay,
it is, and it could go really left or it could go really right.
Wow.
And so I mean, it's but everyone, I don't have a problem here where I live. I don't have a problem too bad, but it's just more, to me, it's more rural.
Yeah, we can tell the beautiful greenery behind you.
Yeah, this is my house. This is
gorgeous.
My family. My great grandfather, he moved here from Ukraine.
Wow.
In the 1800s, great grandfather. And built this house, and I inherited it recently.
Incredible! Congratulations.
That's been a lot. I try to keep up and keep it going. It's very hard, but I try to keep it going the best I could. I'm very into the gardening and stuff like that. So
cool. I can tell it looks pristine. It looks gorgeous. And by the way, Ukraine. I also have Ukrainian Jewish heritage. What about you, Tom? What is your heritage?
Iraqi.
Iraqi. Okay, so different, but okay. Ukraine is an interesting place with the war going on. Let me ask you something, Idalis. So, and by the way you pronounce it in the Americans is Idalis.
Yeah, Idalis. Yeah.
Idalis. What does it mean? It's beautiful.
Actually, okay. So there's a story behind that.
Let's go. Let's do it.
So I was so into MTV and the MTV VJs from the late '90s. I mean, let's face it, I loved them. And so Idalis Lanzara was one of the VJs on MTV.
Ah, yes.
One of my favorites on there. I loved her personality. I loved everything about her. And I wrote her back in the MySpace, this is before Facebook, MySpace, when you can talk to like celebrities like that. And I messaged her, and she wrote back and she gave me the blessing, because I'm like, I love your name. I think I'm going to use it and stuff like that.
Wow.
And she gave me the blessing, and I thought that was so cool.
That's so cool. That's amazing. By the way, Tom, do you know Eden Harel from Israel, Tom?
The singer?
No, Eden Ariel. So we had a few MTV VJs from Israel that were on MTV. We had like Eden Ariel and some other one. You remember?
I remember them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember them.
So anyway, it's interesting. If anyone's interested, you can look up, what is her name? Idalis what, the VJ?
Idalis
De Leon and Eden Ariel on Google, and you'll find them. That's incredible that you got. So it sounds like MySpace and web TV and the internet was very integral for you when you were younger to be part of a community, right?
Oh yeah. Oh definitely. If I didn't have web TV, I would have never met, and I hate to say now, like, you know, Dale, which I'm not friends with him now. I don't want to go there, but not in the good things. And but if I didn't have web TV, I wouldn't have met all the people that I met then, and I wouldn't be who I am today. That's for sure.
Incredible. Listen, so we don't have to elaborate on it because it's traumatic, I know, but I hope this is an appropriate question. For the burn, for what happened to you in with the accident in 2006, I can imagine, because the timing of transitioning was so close. You say that 2004 you started exploring it, 2006 this accident. How did that come together, and how did you survive that? You are a very strong person, I have to say.
Yeah. Well, around that time, from the early 2000s, I was very much into the nightlife in New York City and Philadelphia at that time. I was promoting for Local 13, which was a party production company in Philadelphia. And that's where Pink got her start. Actually, I met Pink twice.
That's so cool. She's
from that area, and we were in that whole scene down in Philadelphia. And actually, I got mistaken for her a lot because I was just going to say
that you have Pink looks and vibes.
Yeah, I got that same. I had that same haircut as her, the short, really edgy, funky haircut with the points. And
she's the one that said, "Well, get the party started on a Saturday night." Go. Right? Okay, love it.
Well, I loved her, and anyways.
By the way, Tom, you got a compliment. Tom is hot. What is his Insta? Don't worry, Daniel. We will give you the Insta soon. Okay, okay. Yes. Okay. So nightlife in New York and Philadelphia.
Yep. And I was really very much into that, and so that right there, when I would go to the parties and stuff like that, and I was promoting and stuff, I'd always be in, I had this like human hair blonde wig, and I was very passable, and I've kissed people that were, DJs and stuff like that. So
wow.
We were all on ecstasy then. And, but it was really good times, and
fun time.
Right?
It's lovely.
Yeah, really good memories. And
experiences, I feel like, from when you just get into it, it's like stuff that you remember for the rest of your life, I feel like.
Oh yeah. And I was very much into your what's her name, is Viva La Diva. What's her
Donna
name?
International, Viva La Diva.
I was very, very into her during that time too.
Oh, Tom and I, we are obsessed with her. Obsessed. Yes. Donna International, obsessed.
We have that in common.
Love it.
Was very much into her, and actually I think I told you this. My first AOL Instant Messenger name was Viva La Diva with 3 E's.
Oh, I love it. Yes. It's cool to know that Dana made it all the way to the United States. Diva was a popular song in Europe, but to make it to the US is interesting to hear.
Yes. I mean, all my friends knew it. I remember back then. And
cool.
Yeah, it was big. She was beautiful. She is beautiful.
If you ever come to Tel Aviv, I can hook up a meeting with her and her DJ, Ofer Nissim, if you're interested.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. We will talk. We will talk after the stream, and we will exchange notes about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I always respected her. I looked up to her, actually. And anyways, because I was part of the whole nightlife thing. And but yeah, the burn that happened 2005 in my apartment I was living, and my landlord was like he was like a peeping Tom, and he seen me naked that day before this happened, and I caught him a couple times at my apartment.
Wow, that's creepy.
Very creepy. And the neighbor girl downstairs, she had the same problem with him. And I went to take the rent one time, and he had a glass of wine. He's like, "Yeah, I like to drink wine sometimes." Like trying to, I'm like,
oh my
and
goodness.
his wife's in the other room. It was just really bizarre, But anyways, yeah, he had seen me naked, but he came in the apartment the day before this happened, and he was installing a heater next to the stove because I was complaining it was cold in there. It was on the 3rd floor. It was an old colonial apartment, and on South Wells here in Wilkes-Barre, 30% of the Wells. I say that because it's no longer there, and I had said, that there was something. First of all, I thought the place was haunted. I didn't believe in none of that until I lived there. And I heard people walking up the steps, knocking on my door, and then no one was there. Heard an old man. I thought I heard an old man in the hallway there. I thought I heard an old man and a kid playing with the ball or something.
That stuff is really real. I personally have never experienced the supernatural or paranormal, but I'm always interested in UFO, and also ghosts. Recently, a friend of mine who I trust very much, he's very scientific, very science-oriented, and we know each other from more of an intellectual academic circle. He told me a story. He said, "Don't tell this to our other friends in our circle because they're academics, they're science-oriented. He doesn't know how they will react." But he says, absolutely, it's good to hear that you also are open about this because, and then he started telling me a story about how he lived in it's always an older house in San Diego, California. And he describes it like you describe it, different scenes, like the kid playing with the ball. He had like a woman who would be talking and stomping the feet. It's always different. Fascinating. So maybe it's good that the place doesn't exist in that regard. Oh God.
Yeah, and actually, I still have this. My house, my apartment had a skeleton key got in, and I still have the skeleton key, which is I don't know why I keep it. I don't know. But yeah, I have it on my key hook up there, and never would have believed anything like that without actually living through it. But back to the landlord, he came in, and he was this was like the days before the fire. He came in and he put a space heater and hooked it up to the gas line next to the stove, which is like, okay, but it's cold in the front of the house, and I just thought it was like a safety hazard, really.
Okay.
To have that there. Anyways, old colonial houses are notorious for having wiring issues, and
right.
Yeah, and the my light, which was on a dimmer switch, it would always flicker, and So I knew there was wiring issues in that house. But anyways, long story short, I was getting ready for work the next day. I'm a home nudist. I get ready, walk around the house. And
me too, believe me. It's not good for the peeping Toms. Not good for peeping Toms, but I do the same thing.
Exactly. So, but this is, the day before he had seen me naked. He walked right in. I forgot to mention this the day before.
Oh my God. Creepy.
Yeah,
Yikes.
creepy.
Yikes.
He walked right in my apartment, opened the door while he was doing his work, but he came unannounced, is basically what it was. That was the point of my story. And the next day, when I was getting ready to go to work, it was about 11, 12 in the afternoon. I worked, usually I worked later in the day, 4 to 9. That was my shift. I did hair at this place called Atmosphere then.
Cool. Oh, you were doing hair and makeup back then too?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I've
cool.
been doing it for a very long time. And actually, I did John Kerry's makeup when he was running for president.
Amazing! That's so cool. Wow.
Yeah, I was around the Secret Service and all.
Wow. You were the Secret Service beautician.
Yeah, really though. And there was John McCain there. It was really bizarre.
Wow.
Yeah, that's when he was alive, and he was always around, and that was when Obama got in there. Anyways, that day I was getting ready for work, and I put a candle on the stove, and not even a minute, I went in the other room. I was not even a minute in the other room, and it looked, I'd never seen anything like it before or after this had happened.
Wow.
The flame on this candle, going back to this, I thought it had to do with the house being haunted or something.
Right.
And I don't know. I've never seen anything like it, but it was like a torch coming straight up. It was on the stove. It was like straight up, almost touching the ceiling. And it was cold that day, and I tried throwing the candle. All logic goes out the door when you're in panic mode like that. Because in my logical mind, there was baking soda I could have thrown on it. My logical mind could have put a plate on it.
Right. Retrospective 2020. Right.
So when, I panicked, did the thing you're not supposed to do, which is throw it out the door. And so when I went to throw it out the door, it bottomed out, and it was like engulfed me, and it was really crazy. But so then the landlord, he was actually working on the second floor at that time, and he heard me screaming whatever, and he seen me naked the second day in a row.
Yikes.
And with all, I know. And, but anyways, that was that. And that was 2005. This is going on, 17 years now. But I was burnt real bad. Didn't realize it at the time. Because when I didn't feel it at the time.
Right. Initially, I hear it in burn stories that initially it's the body goes into shock. So you don't necessarily feel.
I was in shock, yeah. And I didn't realize how bad it was. And they were carrying me out. But I got to say, the Times Leader newspaper around here, they got to show them respect, because you know what? I wasn't even fully transitioned then, and they respected that I, be called she.
Incredible.
And which was really good. And I really, even though the picture was not good, it was in the paper being carried out. But long story short, then here, about last year, I was just curious. I never drive down that street anymore. And I haven't drove down that street probably in years and years and years. It's probably since then. And I just so happened to drive past it and noticed that the house wasn't there anymore. And I was like, what is going on? I was like shocked because it was a really nice house. It was really, that whole area where I lived at one time was it was right across from an old Jewish synagogue up there on South Wells. It's by the old Social Security, the old Stegmeyer building, which is now the Social Security building. And so at that time, you know, all those houses up there are really old, but they're really, really nice. And I was shocked. I was shocked that it was no longer there anymore. And then so I had to look it up then. And when I looked it up, what did it say? It was said electrical. And well, that they can't. That landlord, he really made my life hell. He sued me and all that, and he was in with the job.
Even though there was electrical issues inherent to the house.
Yes. Okay. So yeah. So his insurance company sued me, and it wasn't a lot of it. The floor in the kitchen needed to be replaced anyways, but they basically used that as a way to get it fixed. And but he came for me. He came for me. I would go to court, and I think it was like $5,000 or something. But it was just a point that in the court I said that I believed that it had something to do with the wiring in the house.
Absolutely.
And him installing that space heater next to the stove.
Did you get any justice for it? Did they believe you?
Oh no, they like I said, the judge was with him.
I'm so sorry. That's so infuriating. Wow.
This area, I gotta say, where I live, the area is very corrupt. I mean, it's super corrupt. Uh-huh. And Pennsylvania is a very corrupt state. One of the most corrupt states.
Wow.
And where this had happened, it was in Wilkes-Barre. So actually, it should have been the court date should have been in Wilkes-Barre City, but here it was moved to where the landlord lived in Hanover. Here, where I live in Hanover. He was able to finagle and move the whole thing over to Hanover, and so because I guess that was his buddy or whatever. I don't know, corruption. But that traumatized me. But after that, I was in the hospital down there, and I went to the Lehigh Valley Hospital, and the best burn center in the whole. I probably state if I ever, came into a lot of money, I would definitely give back to that burn center. And
what's it called again, so that I can look it up later?
It's the Lehigh Valley Hospital.
Okay.
It's by Dorney Park, I believe, down in Allentown.
Okay.
It's about an hour south of here, but really, really, really great care.
Incredible.
They're on top of. They're one of the best, I think, and because where I live, there's no burn center or anything like that. This is more of like, it's like the line in the road. Philadelphia's the big city, Allentown is the medium city, and this is the small city.
Right.
And they're away from each other. And I'm 2 hours from New York City here.
So let me ask you, I'm trying to put myself in, it's hard to even imagine, but I'm trying to imagine, to try to put myself in your shoes. So you were about to transition, and you already knew about your gender identity, and you were well on the way, and then this happens, and not only do you have the fire to traumatize, but you also have this asshole, excuse my French, landlord to make your life even a triple whammy. It's like a boom, boom, boom. All kinds of the trance, the fire, and this. How in the world, Idalis, are you here with us today looking young as if you never went through a day of hardship in your life? How is it?
Well, I have good skincare. I like my skincare.
Wow.
But
I will ask you for recommendation later.
I love Shiseido. That's my company.
Yes.
But yeah, no, been through a lot, and with the family and stuff, because don't really want to go into that, but my family is not very accepting, and
which makes everything 100 and 1,000 times worse. Wow.
I don't have a big family. It's really just my mother and my sister, and sister stole off me a lot, all my nice things. So that added a very bad element to my life, my whole life. She's always stealing off me. You know, it's okay, one or two things, but when it's brand new things and I'm just finding this stuff. I just found a bag from 2014 with all brand new stuff in it. I never even wore it. I was like,
you're kidding. Wow.
Not kidding.
Wow.
It's just, it's a mental, I just, you know what, it's a mental illness thing. Has to be. And I try to be understanding.
Is she, so there's kleptomania, which means people who are obsessive compulsively steal. And then there's also bipolar, which I know that when you have mood disorder and you're manic, you also steal. So is it one of those, do you think?
Oh, probably both. Both. Yeah, I've lived with that my whole life. And
are you free, Idalis? Are you free from it now that you have your own home? Are you feeling like you are more time to heal from all of that crap?
No, actually, now, because I have a double block house and was renting the other side out, and my mother took it upon herself to move my sister in.
Oi.
Yeah, so, and you know what, I look at it this way. Yes, it could have been money, but in a way, she still keeps stealing still. But in a way, it's better than having tenants, because tenants, the last ones destroyed the place, and it wasn't good. And there was a lot of, made a lot of money, and could use that, but yeah.
Maybe someday soon you will be able to have, sublease or rent a room, but for now I understand it's not an option with the sister there, right?
Right, and my mother went against me, and when we moved here, it was 2013. My uncle died. Now, my uncle and my aunt, they were going to adopt me when I was 12, and I said no to it or whatever, because my other cousin, my Aunt Mary's sister, Steph, adopted my cousin's son, Timmy. And so they were going to adopt me, and I kind of regret that now. I kind of regret that now. But my aunt, she was more of a mother figure than anybody. My grandfather, that's her sister. My great aunt. And that's who lived here. And when her and my uncle died, I inherited the house here and stuff. And
it's like her gift to you in a way.
Yeah, no. So the flowers, actually, the zinnia flowers, I've been trying to keep going every year from her seeds. Which is a nice thing I try and do. She was always in the garden and stuff like that, and yeah, and the neighbors too. They know that I try, but yeah, it's been a difficult couple years, because it's 2016 she moved her in, and my when we moved here 2013, from 2013 to 2016 we were renting it out, and when we moved here, we made a pact. I said, I don't, because my aunt did not want her here, and my sister. And, we made a pact that she wasn't allowed around here, and because of the stealing.
Yeah.
And she went against me. And my one friend, who I don't talk to anymore, Jason, one night in 2016, they were all like, it was like 3 against 1. And here I'm on a loan's place. And I'm like,
right.
It's like, what the heck here?
Right.
So the only other option, is, basically sell the place, which I'm really thinking about, but I don't want to do that because my great-grandfather moved, he built the place.
It's
so
sentimental. The one from Ukraine?
Yeah. Sentimental, so it's a hard decision I got to think about, and it's my whole family's belongings are all in the attic because for years and years. This house in 1972 was to the second floor in the Hurricane Agnes flood. So everything. This is a flood house. All the houses around here were in the flood zone.
Wow.
We're right next to the Susquehanna River. And they built the levees and stuff. So there was a couple times it could have broke, though. The last time it was 2011, I think it was. And we lost our only big supermarket down the road, Redner. They loved Redner's. And they got flooded out twice. And go figure. Since then, there hasn't been any floods.
I'm thinking in my mind that it's sounding like the house is as sturdy as you are to have survived the hurricane and all of the flooding, and all of the adversity that you have survived. It is a testament, and I can imagine that making keeping the house even more of a sentimental look. The way that I like to think about it, not to be a preacher, but I myself am dealing with a lot of crossroads in my life. I think it's part of the human condition. And Tom, maybe you have been through crossroads as well. It's always better to have a wise friend once told me, a very good friend. She was like my therapist in a way. She told me it's always better to have options when you come across crossroads and hard times than having no options. And so at least, you can think about the positive side that even though you're in this shitty situation now with the sister and the stealing and you don't have your freedom yet, you have that option that you mentioned in the back of your head, which is you can always sell the place. Even you don't even have to ever do it, but just having the option means you have that breathing room psychologically,
Yeah. And, we got into it. I'll share this with you. We got into it pretty bad the other day because I told my mother, mind you, she's a hater, that I want the full sex change and I want a uterine transplant and maybe I'll have kids.
Wow. And she's not a supporter.
That turned into World War III.
Wow.
I mean, real bad.
Wow.
My friend Brad, he sells headphones. He's silent disco, and he had a party scheduled for in Atlantic City, right underneath the Ferris wheel on the pier there the other day, and had to cancel that event, going there and everything. Because that's how bad it was.
Wow.
He came and helped? He helped you?
Oh, no. My friend Jazzy from Syracuse came down and we were going to go. And had to cancel and everything.
Oh, I see.
And wow. Forward to that all summer, kind of thing. And had to cancel that. So that's how bad it got. Because I said that,
Unbelievable.
That's my mom, and we're still, but yeah.
No, it sounds very toxic and very energy draining. Energy draining is what it sounds like.
Yes, very much.
Look, what I can tell you, first of all, thank you so much for opening up about all of this, because, we like to keep it light, whatever, blah, 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 but really, all of us have complex layers of shit, excuse my French, in our lives. And the one thing that I can tell you, other than my gratitude for Idalis, for you sharing all of this with us, is, again, the sense that I'm left with my jaw wide open, at how strong you are to be standing here today, dealing, not only having dealt with it, but still dealing. And I'm going to pray for you, even though, I'm not religious, but symbolically, I'm going to cross my fingers that something in the universe changes for you and everything starts to fall into a better place, because, and I think that that's how life works. There's no way that a person can have the burn accident, the hardship with the family, the suing of the landlord, and all of this ongoing. And there's no way that you can have that and that things not change. Whatever comes down always has to come up. So I'm praying that things start to come up for you, and you have more control over this crap. And honestly, if I were you, and I'm not in a position to tell you because we're just meeting now, if I were you, I would say fuck you to, to the sister. Oh my God. Terrible. Yes.
I gotta there's a butterfly here. You gotta see it behind me. I don't know if you could see it.
Oh, beautiful flowers. Beautiful yard. Wow.
Here it is.
Gorgeous.
Oh, I saw it.
Oh, I saw it too. It's like Papa Nechmad.
Yeah, it's a monarch.
Yeah.
I had to show you guys.
In Israel, we grew up on a television show, Tom and I, called The Nice Butterfly. And the butterfly was the main character of the show. And he looking like that, the monarch. Beautiful. Monarch are my favorite.
Yeah, I try to make, all the flowers and have them come around. I like the pollinators.
Yeah.
So tell us, do you enjoy your work? You're still doing makeup professionally and hair professionally?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, still love it. And I've been licensed now for about 21 years.
That's awesome.
I left high school when I was a junior. Never, ever in a million years, because I was A's and B's in elementary school.
That's a good student.
Never in a million years, because I went to a Catholic school.
Wow.
Then I went to public school. And when I went to public school, should have never went through with that in the public school. I should have just went with the parochial. But anyways, I did, because I wanted to dress the way I wanted to dress. That's basically what it came down to. I actually left high school junior in high school, and I started beauty school, and finished beauty school when everyone was graduating from my class. So, and I got, the GED or whatever. But, so ever since then, I've been doing hair in the salon and makeup.
Cool. You look to me not only passable, you look like a beautiful woman, and you are beautiful inside and out. And, Tom and I, we discussed this before we started the stream. I noticed that Tom also is part of the LGBT community, like he said that he came out as gay. And I noticed that he also goes a lot to drag shows in Israel, because on your Instagram, Tom, it shows a lot of drag shows. First of all, it's fun. It's fun. And I personally have always identified with the scene, have friends from the scene, and I love going to the drag shows. What is that scene like in Israel today? And are you involved with it, Tom?
I'm not involved with it. The guy I'm dating, he sort of does drag. Like, I don't know if we would call it that, but sometimes the performance he puts on is very draggy. And I think it's, right now, it's the best it's ever been, probably. It's, there's so many, any night, there's so many places to go if you want to see a drag show. All of the girls do an amazing job. All of the shows are so much fun. I think if you want to see someone funny, you can do that. If you want to see someone dance, you can do that. I think the events right now are really, really good in Tel Aviv. And yeah, I'm just excited about it. I like, every time I go to a party or something and there's a girl who does drag, it's like, it's the best. It's the most exciting thing ever.
Let me ask you both this. So when I for example, watch RuPaul Drag Race, not constantly, but here and there, an episode here, episode there. And I know that some of the girls from RuPaul ended up transitioning fully. So what I wondered recently, and Idalis, you would be able to tell me, I'm sure. Recently, I wondered, is a percentage of people that do drag, is it them exploring what will eventually become their transsexuality? Is it people in the beginning of the... Okay.
Yes.
But it's not everyone?
Not everyone, no.
Okay.
No. Can I... Okay, you were talking about Tel Aviv. Did you go to the Pride there? The Pride Festival there?
The last one, yeah.
You were there? I saw that Deborah Cox, which is one of my favorites, she performed there.
With Ofer Nissim, Deborah Cox. I love it. It's easy as life. It's that one?
Nobody's supposed to be
here. Nobody's supposed to be.
Oh, she was here, really?
Yeah, with Ofer Nissim, she performed it. It was a whole tribute.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a whole big thing, and she looked amazing. And she's one of my favorites. I love her. She just never gotten the credit she deserved. I thought she's like to me, she's like a Whitney.
Absolutely. Do you know Idalis Anastasia, the singer Anastasia?
Yeah, oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so to me, Deborah Cox, Anastasia, kind of in the same range of American singers that did not get the American recognition.
There's something about this kind of like who else did I like? What the guy version? What's his name? He was a British guy. I can't remember his name. But basically, they I hate to say they bastardized some of the good people.
Absolutely, you know? And then they become famous among the LGBT. It's interesting.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah,
but but with RuPaul's, I gotta say, I actually the first season they were interested in me to be on the show for the first.
Oh, cool!
Yeah, I spoke with the producers and all that, and I was all about it then.
What was your drag name?
Idalis.
Love it.
Yeah. You know, just like Cher, just like Idalis.
Love that.
And yeah, I love Cher. And but yeah, this is before. You know, I think that show had so much potential, and I really thought, you know, but I hate to say it, RuPaul don't see the trans girls.
No.
Carmen Carrera met a lot of the girls from there. I met Jujubee and Alexis, Mateo, and one of the couple first seasons. I met a lot of those girls. Yeah. And Alyssa Edwards and all them. And Coco Montrese. I'm trying to think of who else. But yeah, Carmen was not nice to me. There was Alyssa and Carmen, and they just didn't. I'm a little bit bigger, and they just don't see the fat.
We do not like in IsraDiva Live Alisa and Carmen. We do not like them because we are all about body positivity.
They came for me when we were at this new bar. It was for Allentown Pride.
Spill the tea.
2012, Carmen was booked, and Alyssa, which I always liked. Oh crap! This dog's coming out here, so I don't have to go inside. Right on the side here. The Carmen and Alyssa, they had a bunch of fried food, okay, and like because it's like a restaurant type place. It was like a restaurant bar club type place. I forget what they called it, but it wasn't around too long. It was. And they were trying to take the business away from Stonewall, which is now closed, and they're naming it Vogue. It was like the longest gay bar in Allentown. So we always used to go there. And my really good friend Terry Courtney, who passed away from HIV in 2011, a week after my aunt. So I lost two people in that same week.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Terry Courtney, if you could look her up, Teri Courtney.
Okay.
Really good, really good drag queen, and one of my best friends, and really she came from the era from Escalitas in New York City.
Oh, she's gorgeous! Wow, I see her now on images.
Yeah, that was one of my best friends.
Wow,
and I helped her a lot with her hair and her makeup. Not her makeup, but her hair mostly. And she do her makeup. She is a phenomenal makeup artist. But her outfits were amazing and all that. But anyways, so back to Alyssa Edwards and Carmen. They had given them, like they give the entertainers food and stuff like that. And they had like mozzarella sticks and stuff like that. And, I'm standing in line waiting to meet them, whatever. And they're like, here, girl, you want me food? And so I took one because I was drinking. And they're like, snickering.
Oh, they did it in a taunting way. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
What bitches. Well, what I would like to think is that there would be more solidarity among the minority communities, right? Because we all know as minority members what it's like. And so we have to have solidarity. But for those that bully, that means that they are just ugly people, and there's ugly people out there, Let me tell you. So I know that, Tom, it's late in Israel, so let's try to change the topic, but keep it still in the same area. I want to talk to both of you about the significance of hair and makeup and drag, and also of self-appearance, the way that we choose to have ourselves appear in the LGBT community. I'm interested in two sides of the spectrum. I noticed in my own familiarity with LGBTQ community that, again, even in the LGBT community, there is fat shaming and body shaming, just like what Idalis told us, the anecdote now about the two drag queens that make fun of it. And there's also this expectation to have a perfect body. Do you guys feel like there is, like this is changing, or is it staying the same?
It's the same. You're always going to have it, no matter what. That's me personally. That's my opinion.
I think the dialogue around it is changing a bit. I think it's always going to be present, since it's very, it is a larger, wider cultural thing. It's beyond, being LGBT. I think it's this, in general, as a society, the way we think about fat people and stuff like that. But I do think that I do think it's slightly improving. I do think there's a lot of more understanding of the different sides of it, and like the dialogue around it is a bit better. It's more like, what's the word? It's like more delicate, sort of. I don't know. I think it is getting a bit better.
So, honestly. Do you know, Idalis? Do you know the singer Netta?
I've heard of her.
So in Israel, the Eurovision, which is what Dana International won in 1998, she represented Israel and she won. We won again the Eurovision recently in 2018 with Netta. Dana's shtick was that she was trans before trans was accepted, trendy, like you said, way before 1998, and that really got the dialogue started in Europe. Netta won on the sort of female empowerment and body positivity sort of themes, because she's a big girl, and she celebrates being big. Some of her lyrics for the song Basa Sababa are actually poking fun at herself being a rhino, wanting to eat food, and celebrating these kinds of disses and the kind of negative comments that she would get being bullied about her size, celebrating it and saying, so what? And I think that I actually spoke with Avshalom Ariel, who is, I'm in a friendship with him. He is her creative manager and one of her directors and producers. And he is very nice. And he and I got into a conversation about ideals. So I think my personal take is that, yes, the problem is going to be there forever when it comes to bullying people who are different, who are fatter, who have a larger build, and I think it's also when it comes to any ideal, when it comes to masculine and feminine. For example, I'm sure that there are drag queens and trans women that do not pass as easily as others. They do not pass as a woman. And so they automatically become second tier, like less than, and they themselves get bullied more. So Avshalom and I, Netta's director, and I spoke, I asked him, I said, what do you think is the significance of Netta, who is a big girl, getting popularity all over Europe as a pop star who's big? I think in America we have Lizzo, she's called, who is similar, bigger, right? And he said that he's hoping that just like Tom said, that it can only begin to change the dialogue and to say, look, we can have a big girl be a pop star. And I hope that the same can be maybe in the trans community with girls that don't pass. Maybe in the future there will be a drag queen that has a beard. Maybe that already exists. I don't know. I know there's one named Conchita, I think. So this blurring of the lines of I can be who I want to be and it's positive. I think it's good to have this dialogue, but I think like Idalis is saying, in the end of the day, the problem is still there. It still exists. What do you guys think? You see the changes happening as well, or not at all? Or you said that you see the changes in the dialogue, Tom, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think with the trans thing, I do think it's very, if you look around like the scene in Tel Aviv, you do see there's a lot of more acceptance of like girls who just started the transition, still, they just started HRT and still they're like super accepted. Everybody loves them.
Really. So even the ones that don't pass, they're still celebrated.
Oh, sure. People love them. People are very accepting of them.
Really? In Tel Aviv,
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, for sure. I think that's one of the things that became like the most like. I think usually people like to talk about how like the gay community they aren't as accepting of trans women, and sometimes it like they choose their own path and they don't really, But I do think that is changing. I do think like specifically in Tel Aviv, I think the gay community is extremely fond of its like local trans women. There's a lot of very, very popular girls who go to clubs, they host shows, stuff like that. Like a couple of names I can come up with, Meshi Kazaz, Meital Avraham, all of them.
Meital Avraham, I know, she's hilarious.
Yes. She's hilarious. And people love her. and when she comes out as well, she's hilarious. And people are obsessed with them. And I do think that's one of the good things that is happening. And even, I walk around, I go to parties, stuff like that. You see the girls who are like maybe just 18, maybe they just started the transition. They're still not like fully comfortable with their bodies. And yet like there is a space for them to be like a bit more free,
Idalis, do you think that it's a matter of location? Like in Tel Aviv, it's now the dialogue is more accepting, but in America, it's less.
Maybe yeah. But I think that going back to the whole, for me personally, here and where I live, I was blackballed from performing. There's a club called Heat, which one of my ex friends runs it, and he's the head queen there, Estella Sweet. Mm-hmm. And he made me really. I loved to perform, and I loved the whole thing. And he is a narcissist, and he has a lot of weight on his shoulders as far as the community is concerned. And where I live, there is no other place but there, and this other place called the 12 Penny Bar up in Scranton. There's really no others.
I see.
So, I have not been involved in the local shows or anything like that. And I actually started back in 2001. I approached, there was another bar when the Buzz closed in Scranton, which I loved. I loved the Buzz. It was very, very much a community thing, like what you're talking about. Loved that aspect about it. There was all types of people and everybody. There really, the older queens really showed me the way, and I respected them. Now it's like completely opposite. It's all about shade throwing and all this. Like,
unbelievable! Wow,
I don't like it. And,
it sounds like the opposite. One thing is for sure, Tom and I are going to welcome you to Tel Aviv, and we're going. Idalis, you have to come to Tel Aviv. You would love it.
I would love. I know. I would love it, and I would love all the cute guys too.
Oh yes, beautiful boys in Israel.
I gotta find me a husband over there.
Absolutely, and then you can be in a more accepting place.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, you guys, because Tom has to go to sleep, it's almost midnight. What I will do is we will do one last thing. We will talk about a lighter subject, which is what is our favorite movies and music and TV shows and pop culture and things that we love to do. And after that, we will all sing a song together, the IsraDiva live song, and then we say goodbye. But I have to say, this was very informative, and also thank you for opening up so much. So, moving on to the lighter subject. Whichever one of you wants to start, what are your favorite musicians right now? Culture, art, exhibition, a book, whatever. Go.
I'm reading The Magic of Believing. I've just started it. It was Liberace's favorite book, so that's why I picked it up.
Oh wow! I will write it down. The Magic of Believing. What is it about?
It's about. I just started it. It's like I'm on the 12th page of it. But from what I gather, it's about I guess law of attraction type of thing, and believing if you really want to get something and you believe in it, you're gonna get it.
Oh, I love that. I love it.
Yeah, and just I loved Liberace, like the whole flamboyant stuff. This whole thing. Did not like that movie that they made with Michael Douglas. I think it was. I gave that a 1 out of 10. But but I still liked it. Visual appeal. But yeah, I was looking into Liberace, and I'm like, I forget the one friend of his, not Carol Channing. What's the other one? The crazy lady. She was on his biography, and she said, "Oh, that was the book that he really loved. It was like his Bible." So I'm like, I gotta get it.
Amazing.
So I just started reading that.
So to all of our followers, it's called The Magic of Believing, Liberace's favorite book. You should get it. Okay, Tom, what are you reading? Assuming you're reading.
Well, right now I'm reading the
physics
Bible notes. Yeah, not physics, mathematics.
Mathematics.
But, maybe a show. I recently went to Germany to see Lady Gaga.
Wow.
My friend Jazzy was just saw her 2 days ago in New Jersey.
Cool. Wow.
So funny.
It's a beautiful show. If anyone still has a chance to see it, it's very incredible. It's very more of a theater performance than a live show. And yeah, it was really, really good. So
cool. She's talented. She also changed, one of the ones that changed the discourse around, she blurs lines. She blurs lines between masculinity, femininity, her fashion, androgynous, and also blurs the lines in all the different ways that theater and music, how did she call it? Art pop, right?
That was the last one. The recent one is...
What's this one called? This one?
Chromatica.
Chromatica. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I guess
her once before she became big, but that's another story.
I guess what I am interested in recently is, let me think. Well, also in terms of books, today we are more intellectual than we are anything else. So
not me.
Not you as well, but you're a student, so you have every right to keep that in your daytime, and in the nighttime be party. But speaking of intellectual, I started a book by John Fowles called The French Lieutenant's Woman. And John Fowles, in general, Fowles, he's a wonderful author for fiction. His book, The Magus, which is about a magician and a person who falls in the traps of a magician on a Greek island. It's like fantasy fiction. He has books that are considered some of the first horror books of the 20th century. Anyway, John Fowles, highly recommend him. You guys, this has been, I'm sorry to cut this short, but you guys are amazing. With your permission, can I add, after the stream, both of your Instagram accounts to the bio, and also whatever other biography you want to add and social media links? I love my guests. You have been one of my favorite shows of the 9 shows, really. Deep, beautiful people, both outside and in, really, and a very significant discussion. So thank you so much for coming on the show. And now we will sing. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Clap your hands. Thank you so much for coming on the show. IsraDiva Live. IsraDiva Live. Go. Thank you, Tom, and thank you, Idalis. You guys are the best. I love you. Mwah, kisses. Mwah. Thank you so much. And to all the viewers. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, honey.